You are sitting in a silent library, or maybe you are in the middle of a high-stakes job interview. Suddenly, it hits you. That tiny, irritating tickle at the very back of your nose. You try to fight it. You scrunch your face, you hold your breath, you pray to the universe for a distraction. But it is too late. Your body has already made its decision. Your eyes slam shut, your lungs take a massive, involuntary gulp of air, and then, boom. You have just experienced one of the most violent, mysterious, and misunderstood biological events in the human repertoire. We call it a sneeze, but your brain calls it a full-scale tactical reset. Have you ever wondered why you cannot keep your eyes open when you sneeze? Or why some people sneeze in sets of 3, while others sound like they are trying to summon a demon? There is a persistent myth that your heart stops every time you sneeze, and another that says if you keep your eyes open, they will pop right out of your head. Today, we are going to tear those myths apart and look at the actual high-speed ballistics of what is happening inside your face. Because while a sneeze feels like a 2-second glitch, it is actually a masterpiece of neural engineering that involves your brain, your lungs, and a jet of air moving faster than a car on the highway. Let's start with the trigger. You might think a sneeze is just about dust or pollen, but your nose is actually a high-tech security system. It is lined with millions of tiny hairs called cilia and a layer of mucus that acts like flypaper for bacteria and irritants. When something foreign lands there, it sends a frantic signal through the trigeminal nerve. This is the largest and most complex of your cranial nerves, and it basically acts as the alarm bell for your face. This signal travels straight to the sneeze center in your lower brainstem, a place called the medulla. Once the medulla gets that signal, it is game over. Your conscious mind is no longer in charge. Your brain sends out a mass text to your throat, your lungs, and your diaphragm. Initiate purge sequence immediately. This is where the physics get incredible. Before the blast, your chest muscles compress your lungs, creating a massive amount of internal pressure. It is exactly like a pressure cooker reaching its limit. Your vocal cords close tight to hold that air in, building the tension. Then, in a split second, your throat relaxes and the air is expelled at speeds up to 100 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, a sneeze can hold 100,000 droplets of mucus and germs across a room at 150 feet per second. If you're standing 30 feet away from someone, you're still in the splash zone. This isn't just a clear out, it is a biological eviction. But why the ACHOO sound? Is that part of the biology? Actually, no. The ACHOO is almost entirely cultural. Researchers have found that people who are deaf from birth do not make the ACHOO sound. They make a heavy breathing sound, or a sharp noise. We say ACHOO because we have been conditioned to turn a biological reflex into a linguistic one. In Japan, they say hakushin. In Italy, it is itchy. We are literally socialized to sneeze in a certain language. But what about the weird stuff? Have you ever walked out into bright sunlight and immediately felt the urge to sneeze? This is called the photic sneeze reflex, or more hilariously, ACHOO syndrome. That stands for autosomal dominant compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst. About 1 in 4 people have this, and it is all down to a short circuit in the brain. The nerve that tells your pupils to shrink in the light runs very close to the nerve that triggers a sneeze. In 25% of the population, the brain gets confused and thinks a bright light is actually something irritating the nose. It is essentially a glitch in your biological wiring that has been passed down through your DNA for thousands of years. Now, let's address the big fear. Can you sneeze your eyes out? You have probably heard this on the playground since you were 5. The answer is a hard no. While it is true that your blood pressure behind the eyes increases slightly during a sneeze, your eyes are held firmly in place by strong extraocular muscles. They're just sitting in there like marbles in a bowl. The real reason your eyes close is much simpler. It is an involuntary reflex. Your brain is trying to protect your eyes from the high-pressure spray of bacteria you are about to emit. It's a safety shutter, not a structural failure. What about your heart? Does it really stop? Not exactly. When you sneeze, the pressure in your chest changes dramatically, which can momentarily alter your blood flow. This might cause your heart to skip a single beat or change its rhythm for a fraction of a second. So, while your heart doesn't flatline, it does take a tiny panicked pause before getting back to work. This is likely where the tradition of saying, "bless you," came from. During the Great Plague of London, a sneeze was often the first sign that you were about to meet your maker, so people would offer a quick prayer to save your soul. But here is the part you really need to listen to. Whatever you do, do not hold it in. We have all done the polite stifle where we pinch our nose and shut our mouth to avoid making a scene. This is incredibly dangerous. When you block a sneeze, you are trapping that 100-mile-per-hour pressure inside your head. That pressure has to go somewhere. There are documented cases of people rupturing their eardrums, popping blood vessels in their eyes, and in extreme cases, tearing a hole in the back of their throat. One 34-year-old man in the UK actually ended up in the hospital for a week because he tried to stop a sneeze and the trapped air tore through the soft tissue of his neck. If your body wants to sneeze, let it happen. It is better to be loud than to have a literal hole in your neck. Interestingly, a sneeze is more than just a cleaning service. A study from the University of Pennsylvania in 2012 found that sneezing is the nose's version of a computer reboot. They found that the pressure of a sneeze actually resets the environment inside the nasal cavity. It helps the tiny cilia hairs start fresh, ensuring that they can continue filtering the air you breathe. Without this periodic reset, your nose would become overwhelmed by the sheer amount of junk we inhale every day. There is also a deeper, more personal side to sneezing. Have you ever noticed that some people have a sneeze personality? There is the mouse sneezer, who makes a tiny peep, and the screamer, who sounds like they are falling off a cliff. Psychologists suggest that the way we sneeze can actually reveal things about our personality. Loud, explosive sneezers tend to be outgoing, assertive, and influential leaders. Those who try to keep it quiet are often more empathetic, cautious, and sensitive to the feelings of others. You might think you were just clearing your nose, but you are actually broadcasting your personality traits to everyone in the room. And let's not forget the sneeze-gasm. You know that feeling of immense relief right after a big sneeze? There is a biological reason for that. A sneeze triggers a massive release of endorphins, the body's feel-good chemicals. It is a tiny hit of dopamine as a reward for successfully clearing out a potential threat. Some researchers have even compared the physical tension and release of a sneeze to a mini version of a sexual climax. It is one of the few involuntary reflexes that actually feels good once it is over. So the next time you feel that tickle, don't be embarrassed. You are witnessing a high-speed, 100-mile-per-hour biological reboot. Your brain is communicating with your diaphragm, your heart is recalibrating, your eyes are protecting themselves, and your nose is literally restarting its operating system. You are a finely tuned machine, and the sneeze is just your body's way of keeping the engine clean. You're not just sick or allergic. You are experiencing one of the most complex survival mechanisms in the animal kingdom. Before you go, I have to know, what kind of sneezer are you? Do you do the triple threat where you always sneeze exactly 3 times? Or are you the person who scares the entire office with one giant explosion? Let me know in the comments, because I am convinced the triple sneezer is a specific breed of human. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button and share this with that one friend who always tries to hold their sneezes in. You might just save their eardrums. Make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the weird science of being human. See you in the next one.